Essentially, really what you're doing. No, I think I've said it many times, but it's always good as a summary, you know. Essentially, somebody engages in this type of thinking, what is he really doing? He's reconstructing something which used to be a structure, has been fragmented, and now he wants to reconstruct it back. That's really what it is. So fundamentally, somebody who learns this way is really a reconstructionist. You're either that, or you're a Methodist. Sounds funny, but you know.
A metaphor detective is the more.
The what?
A metaphor detective is more politically correct, I think.
Yeah.
You brought it.
But that's really what the whole thing is, to somehow sort out the fragments and put it together into cohesive structure, where you see all the variables and the relationships and so on. You know? Okay, so last week we started Perek Sheni, and we came into an entire area that this mission is really talking about. Remember that? The whole concept of what? Mental state. Or rather, state of mind. And we discovered that, right? Very important, because this applies to Kol HaTorah Kula. Is that on, by the way? Is this on?
Sure.
This applies to Kol HaTorah Kula. The whole concept there. How many states of mind did we say there were? Remember? How many states of mind are there? Nobody remembers? It's only a week. Come on, guys.
No, talking about Miss Ase.
Everybody's afraid.
Yeah, okay, I was one.
There's Mazid.
Mazid Shogeg.
Oh, in terms of that Mazid Shogeg.
Well, you talk about the
the
continuum.
opposites.
Misasek and, let's say, Yudea. What else? Schaven, Ein Mischaven. And Rotzen, Eines and Rotzen.
Right.
4 mental states, or 4 states of mind. Right? And they're each different. Remember that? What was Misasek, and what's the word for Misasek? What I should say, what's the attribute that Misasek deals with? The mental attribute or characteristic. What was it? And then you have positive and negative of that attribute. Each one of these 4 has an attribute, and then you have the positive side, and you have the negative side. So, Misasek, what was the attribute? The mental state, the major idea in that mental state. You remember?
Awareness of action.
Awareness, exactly. Awareness of what are you doing? You know what you're doing, right? So awareness. So either you are aware, which is called a yudea, let's say, or you're not aware, which is called a misasek. Because you're not even aware of what you're doing something, and you're not aware of the action you are performing. What's next? So that's awareness. What's shogeg umezid?
You remember the...
What's the central word? Always try to zero in on precision.
Culpability?
No. The culpability simply means guilt. And these are all these are fundamental all conditions. But what's the central idea between shogeg and mezid? What was the word that is the central word term, and either positive or negative? Who?
Intention.
No. Not intention. Come on, shogeg and mezid. All you need is one word, you see, that captures the essence, and then you remember then automatically remember. So there's awareness, one, are you aware? Right? And the second thing is, let's assume you are aware, are you or are you not what? Guys will remember. Knowledge. Do you know the legal significance of the act that you're doing? It's not awareness because you are aware, but do you know? Do you have knowledge of the legal significance of this act? So if you are, that's called a mezid. If you are not, that is called a shogeg. But even that has levels. You know, I may be aware that it's also. I didn't know it was chorus. I knew it was chorus. I didn't know it was Misa B'dei Shemayim. It was, because remember, not knowing the legal significance is called what? Ignorance. It's ignorance. You are ignorant of some type of fact about what you're doing, and the answer is, what fact am I unaware or not unaware? What fact do I not know? And the answer is, what's the legal significance of this? You know. So Mezid and Shogeg pivots around knowledge. Misasik in your there pivots around awareness. Right? Okay, what's next? Mischaven and ein mischaven. What does that pivot around?
Oh, that's intention.
Intention, yes. In other words, when you, and intent always has what? When you intend, what is it usually preceded by? What's the order of what?
I intend.
When you intend to do something, it's always preceded by another concept.
Ross,
No, not Rutzen, because that's going to be something else. Right? It's always preceded by motive. And when you intend something, you're motivated to do something. And that's your intention. Motive is a reason why you do something. What's your motive? When I say, what's your motive? What are you really asking?
Why'd you do it?
Why did you do it? The fact that you did it is intention. Correct? But why did you do it?
No, it's intention.
When you intend, that means I'm doing this act, right? Deliberately. Intention, the concept of intention is the concept of deliberately.
Why did you do it?
But when I ask you why did you do it, because I know you did it deliberately, you know what I'm saying? Which means you intended. The question is why, that's motive. Right? And what precedes motive? Purpose. What is the purpose of what you want to achieve?
It's not the same thing.
And therefore, no. Purpose is an objective, is an idea. Motive is what precedes an action. And intention is doing the action.
What would be an example of a chiluk? Sounds a little...
My purpose, let's say I want to walk over the grass, right? My purpose is to go to, let's say, to shul. I want to go to shul. That's my purpose, right? Okay, now I begin to walk. Well, motive precedes action.
So what's motive, yeah?
You know? I mean, motive precedes action, but what precedes motive is purpose.
So what's motive here in this case also? I want to go to shul.
No, in that sense, yes, yeah. It's very similar. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't see the real.
You know, let me tell you something. The truth is, probably it would be interchangeable. A lot of people would say motive and purpose are probably the same. You know, I could see a hairline. You know, purpose is an objective, whereas motive is also motive is a rationale to achieve the objective. So you could say that it's similar. I'm sure if you look at synonyms, they would be the same thing. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the book of Thesaurus, that's a bunch of synonyms, right? You probably have motive, purpose, and all that kind, right? And intent. You probably have all of them, you know? But intention is doing the act itself, whereas motive or purpose precedes the act. You see? Now you may do an act which is unintentional. Means you know, but you're aware it's happening. You may walk on grass and you know you're ripping on grass, right? But you don't intend that to happen. You see, you know what I'm saying? So that's very important. There's awareness, right? And then there's you know that, right? That this act is forbidden or whatever. And then there's what do you call it? Intention. That when you do the act, that's what you want to do. You see.
So what do you say? So a psik ratio is where your intention.
What's a psik ratio?
It's where the situation is such that your motive has to be to pull out the grass because it's impossible any other way.
No, not at all. No, you know, a guy. If you intend to do something, yes, then you obviously if you intend to do something, then it usually will occur. But what happens if you intend to do something? Right, let's assume you do not intend to do something, but it must occur. The concept of psik ratio has nothing to do with mind. It has everything to do with what's the possibility that the act will occur.
It's a cause. If somebody is a cause,
but everything.
No, he's always a cause.
So
but what's the probability? If the probability that something will happen, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the word. If the event that occurs is inevitable, that's called a psik ratio. What happens if I do not intend to do something? You know, let's say I want to cut the head off a chicken. That's really where it comes from. Psik ratio l'yomus. You cut the head off a chicken. I think it's a chicken. For the yomas, it's not going to die. You know? And the guy can say, well, I just want the head. I didn't want to kill it. Right? My intent was I wanted the head. For whatever reason. You know? But I never intended to kill it. You know what I'm saying? My intent of cutting the head off was to procure the head. But I don't wish it to die. See? So you look at the guy and say, excuse me, if you chop off his head, then it's inevitable that it will die. Even though you don't intend. So intent is that you want this to occur, and psik reishe is a concept of is it inevitable or not inevitable.
And if it's inevitable, because
then we say, well, that's the halach then. He didn't intend it, but it's inevitable. Is a shmeya is a mischaven. Is it's
it is. It's as if he intended.
But all I'm saying is they're two different concepts.
Meaning that baloney that he didn't intend, he really did intend because it's inevitable. Because it's inevitable, we say he really did intend.
Well, you see, that's the question. Why is psik reishe, chayav? Because a guy can not intend, but it must happen. But he didn't really want that.
If we choose a less absurd case, like let's say dragging the bench. Dragging a heavy bench. Which is going to make the charitz.
Yeah. So that's what? He's dragging the bench. His intent is to do what?
To move the bench from A to B.
Yes, to relocate the bench. Yes?
Yes.
That's what to do, right? Reposition or relocate the bench, correct? Okay. But if it's a heavy bench, let's say the bench weighs 500 pounds, and it's over soft ground, there's no way that you're not going to make a ditch, a groove, whatever, right? And so, right? But I don't intend, I'm not interested in the groove. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, you're right. The groove is inevitable, you're right. But couldn't care less. What am I going to do with the groove? It's gate miron. I mean, as it's saying in Yiddish, So, the truth is, even if remember, because they're two different terms. A psik reishe refers to the inevitability of an event occurring.
Okay.
Whereas mischaven refers to, right, the state of mind, does he or does he not want something?
So what are the mechanics of psik reishe?
But you see, there's a third variable. There's what's his intent. I don't get to that because that's really not here. But I might as well throw this in. There's intent. What's your intent? Is it mischaven or ain't mischaven?
Right.
Right? That's your mental state. The second variable is the inevitability of the event occurring.
Right.
So if it's inevitable, it's called a psik reishe. Saying, cut off the head of a chicken, of course it's going to die. That's called inevitable, right? Or it's not psik reishe, right? Because it's not inevitable. The third variable is it nicho or lo nicholei, or lo ichbaslei.
Okay.
Those are three variables. Nicholei means it's inevitable, I don't intend, but I'm okay with it. I'm glad it happened. I never intended it for that reason. But once it happened, I'm okay with it. What?
It's driving benefit.
He wants... No, Nicholei...
There's some benefit has to be involved. He's not...
There is some type of satisfaction
right.
with the inevitable event occurring. And then there's lo ichpaslei. I couldn't care less. Or the nit. Doesn't bother me. Then there's lo nicholei. I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Imagine he's got a house, he has no, his floors are earth. He doesn't want grooves in his house. You see, so if he's dragging a bed that weighs 500 pounds, right? He wants to relocate the bench. That's his intent. Yes? However, it's overground, 500 pounds. It's a psik reishe, which means that it's going to happen. But is he nich with that? No. He don't want to make a chritz smack in the middle of his living room.
No, that's the case.
Yeah, so that's called lo nicholei. So those are three variables.
Okay.
You see, in Hilchos Shabbos, or maybe even actually in other places.
So that means he actively doesn't want it.
Yeah, lo nicholei means he doesn't want this. There's a negative satisfaction or an anti-satisfaction. What do you call that?
Dissatisfaction.
Yes. Yes, there's a dissatisfaction. So there is either a satisfaction, or it's irrelevant, or a dissatisfaction. So those are the three variables when you're talking about intention that we come to at Shabbos. You see, it's clear. You see very clearly. But remember, it's all part of state of mind, and you have so far three, right? It's good to know, because this stuff is kol haTorah kula. You know what I'm saying? This is the concept, What's the fourth state of mind we had? What was the pivotal idea, the word? Oinus rotzen. What's oinus? But that's not the word. Oinus is he what?
Force.
Hello. Oinus means what? He's
Force.
compelled.
Compelled.
Yes.
Volition?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, onus is compelled.
The volition?
Volition is the word, yeah. Is he free-willed or not? That's the word. So there are 4 states of mind toward any act that you perform. Very important to see that. And this is true of Kol HaTorah Kula. These 4 states of mind are true Kol HaTorah Kula. Certainly in Shabbos.
They won't necessarily determine the halacha, though.
They're part of the halacha. Because remember, every halacha, I might as well say it. Oh yeah, we're doing brachas.
What are you doing?
Yeah, most guys are doing brachas. I mean, at least they try. Their way. What was I going to say? Yeah, so that's... But I want to take the 2 concepts, or 2 words. There are 2 words. Because we're really doing Kriya Shema, but since it's applicable here, but I don't know how to say it because it's really good. When you do a Malach on Shabbos, yes, there are 2 things you must do to be guilty, chayav or culpable. Right? There are 2 ideas. There are 2 fundamental requirements in any malacha. The first is, did you do the malacha? Right? Right? Every malacha has what's called a key point. In other words, that's the hakpadas haTorah. The Torah is makbid on that. You know, for instance, Zureya. The Torah is makbid on Zureya, but lav dafka. It's not makbid on Zureya. It's not makbid at the form of the act. It's makbid on the effect, which is promote growth. Enhancing or promoting growth. That's what it's makbid on. Therefore, any act that will achieve that is awesome. You see what I'm saying? So what was done in the Mishkan is called the Av. But an Av is an illustrator, a demonstrator. Right? Because then any form, any act which will produce this effect is chayav, is culpable. So that's the first thing you need to do. You have to do the act itself, whatever the Torah is makbid on. In the case of Zureya, it is enhancing or promoting growth. Yes? But what's the second thing you need to do to be chayav? And that's called sufficient, my term. The malach has to be valid, which means I have to do it, and it has to be sufficient. That's my term. What does sufficient mean? To be chayav. What else do you need? Who?
The shear.
A shear is an illustration of what? Yeah, right.
Chashivus?
Who?
Chashivus?
Chashivus is an illustration of what? What's the fundamental concept? Always think in terms of general.
Miskabing?
No,
Significance?
no,
That's the translation.
no. Remember, to be chayav from Malach and Shabbos, you need to have done 2 things. One is the validity. Is it valid? It means did you do the malacha, which is whatever the Torah is makbid on. But there's a second concept that you need to also do besides doing the malacha. What else is there?
I mean, quantity. I mean, it has to be enough.
Oh, that's what he said. No, it's true. But again, that's a specific. I want a general term.
Conditions, maybe.
Hey, bingo. You have to fulfill conditions. You see, shear, which is what you're talking about, amount, number, degree, bulk, it's all amount, right? That's a condition. It's an object condition. It's a condition of the object or the amount of effect. You see? And there are many conditions. In fact, most of the thing is conditions. Most of Hilchos Shabbos is conditions. You know, there's only 39 fundamental hakpadas. There are 39 key points. That's it. You know? But there are many, many conditions. You know what I'm saying? One of the fundamental conditions is called, or the group is called, Meleches Machshavos. Those are conditions. Those are not the malacha. Those are conditions. So that's called sufficient. So if you ever look at a malacha, right, And you want to know, well, is the guy chayav or not? You need to ask, well, is it valid? Did he do the malacha? Did he do one of the 39 key points that are forbidden? And is it sufficient? Did he fulfill or satisfy all the necessary conditions? Mental state is one of the conditions. You see where it fits? The state of mind, you see? Awareness, knowledge, intent, and volition, those are the four states of mind that are conditioned. Those are the four states of mind that are the mental conditions. Then there are many others, you know? And Shabbos is really mostly about conditions. And then how many types of conditions are there? 4. 4 categories of conditions. You thought it got complicated. Remember when one said that? 1. There's the Torah condition, which is true of all mitzvahs in the Torah. Then it's called the Shabbos condition, that it's true of Shabbos only. Then it's called the group condition, which is true of only the entire category of that group, the oven that told us. And then there's that malacha individually may have a condition. So there are 4 types of conditions, and all of them have to be fulfilled to be chayiv. And that's how you analyze a malacha. You just have to understand what the generic conditions are in all of Shabbos, and then that's how you apply. You see. Now in Kriya Shema, which is what we're doing, right? The concept is Hoyukur b'Torah, V'giyaz mana mikra, right? What was his act? He was reciting the Torah, and all of a sudden here it is, Shema, right? So imkime liboy, which would seem to mean what? If he has what? Intent, then he's yotzo, right? What is that? That's a condition. See? What is Kriya Shema? The act of Kriya Shema is only the reading, the reciting. You see, but there's a condition. You have to want to have fulfilled the mitzvah with this act of reading. That's kivan liboy. V'imlav lo yotza. So the Mishnah clearly lays out the whole concept of what? You know, that the state of mind is a condition for to be yotzi or not.
What's the definition of condition?
A condition is in Hebrew it's a tanai.
No, I know. I'm saying, what is it?
A condition. Now let me throw something at you, because this is interesting. What's the difference between a cause and a condition? That's interesting. Anybody know? There's a cause. A cause is a sibo, and a condition is a tanai. What's the difference?
The absence of the cause.
If I walk over and I flip the switch, and the light goes on, I think one said this, right? Was my flipping the switch a cause or a condition for the light to go on?
Condition.
It's a condition. Why? Maybe it's a
the
cause.
cause of the power plant.
Oh, exactly. The cause is really the generator in the power plant, right? But the condition is you have to complete the circuit. No circuit, no light. You see? So a cause is something which is the generating or responsible agent. But a condition is an agent or some type of an act that has to be done in order to allow the cause to be effective. You see? But it doesn't do the thing. It just allows the cause to be effective. You see? When somebody does it, so he's reading Kriya Shema. So what's the cause? What's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is reading Kriya Shema. That's all it is. It's reciting Kriya Shema. But there's a condition. In order for the recitation of Shema to be valid, there's a condition that you have to want this Kriya, to use this Kriya to fulfill the mitzvah. So it's really a condition. It's not a cause. Because just wanting something to fulfill a mitzvah doesn't make it, if you don't, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Lech's Machshavas is also like Lech's Machshavas is only...
It's a condition.
It's a condition.
There are only conditions. What are they? There are a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? There are a couple of Lech's Machshavas. You know? Let's say one of them is Gufa. You know? Let's say you dig a hole. You dig a hole in the ground, right? So is that a malacha? Yeah. What's the malacha? Who? No. Who? Cherish.
We have to be digging it.
Yeah, cherish, right? Plowing. Because plowing also dug, right? But let's say I want to dig the hole in the ground because I want the dirt. I want the hole. Remember one thing: every act you do has a range of effects. How many? If I dig a hole in the ground, how many effects can there be?
At least two.
At least two. What are they?
A hole in the ground.
I want the hole, or I
Dirt.
want dirt. A third one, I want the exercise. It sounds funny, you know. But you'd be surprised, you know. Guys dig holes just to work out their muscles.
They want to get to the septic.
What?
They want to get to the septic. They don't want anything. They have a different kavanah. They want to get to something on the bottom.
And then you want the hole.
No, then you want the hole.
Yeah, that's a pesach.
No, that they want the.
You don't want. You want the hole.
Yeah, they don't want a hole for the hole's sake. They want a hole for something else. I mean, a farmer wants the hole. Why? Not because he wants a hole, because that's the only way to get the seed into the ground. The hole always serves another purpose. Unless the guy just wants holes in the ground. I mean, kids do that. But men don't do that, you know. Kids love to make holes. I mean,
Kids are hurt.
yeah, kids are hard, you know. But even a farmer doesn't want a hole. That the hole enables them to plant a seed. You know what I'm saying? And then cover the ground, and you know, because he doesn't want the seed. They don't want the seed on top of the ground. Why? Because the wind will blow it away. Right? That's why. What?
Won't take root.
Well, it may take root. You never know. But the problem is, well, you have to ask a farmer. You know, you know. But the problem is, if you put a hole, you know, on the top of, if you just throw the seeds, it may take root. But the problem is, a nice wind comes along and just blows away all the seeds or whatever you've done. You know, so that could be a reason. You know, if you, I know it's interesting, but if you plant grass, you ever see the way they do grass? But they don't dig holes. So clearly a seed can root without a hole. The problem is, the wind could blow it away and you have no seeds.
The birds.
Oh, there you are. Birds. Birds love seeds. Yeah. So you don't want the seeds to be, what?
Go ahead, birds.
The farmer. You know?
Well, the roots will go deeper also if it's in the ground. It's deep in.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, because when people see, they just like that. They don't even bother. But either because of birds or the wind or whatever, you want the thing to stay, you know. But anyway, what's Malach saying Tuchel Gufa? If I have any given activity will have a range of effects. It's called a range of effects, right? Malach saying Tuchel Gufa. Well, what do you mean Ein Tuchel Gufa? Who made the rule? Some guys dig a hole for the hole. Some guys dig a hole for the dirt. So who made the rules? You know, so what does that mean? Ein Tuchel Gufa. Who determined what Gufa is? And the answer is who?
Mishkan.
There you are, Mishkan. You need to intend that effect that the Mishkan wanted. You know what I'm saying?
But why did Mishkan want that?
Because they wanted a plant. I think they wanted a plant.
But there's no.
No.
It's
Well, now you're going into the derivation. You know, what you're going to. You know what's the derivation of this malacha in the Mishkan? What was it used for? Well, they used it for construction. Anything done in the Mishkan is for construction of the Mishkan, right? So therefore, your intent has to be identical to the intent of the Mishnah. If not, it's potter, whatever. It's all right. That's a condition because you're doing the malacha. The only thing is, and you're achieving the same effect. The problem is, you have to have the same intent as the Mishkan, and that's a condition. You see? Not the malacha. It's an intent. It's a condition. Everybody got that? Great.
Can I ask a question then?
Yeah.
But how does this all fit in? There's a famous shmooze, which I never had a clarity. People, when they eat food on Shabbos, they say the covered Shabbos Kodesh. So there's a famous criticism of that, and that is when a person's eating, just because he says it, maybe he still has a mind. He's eating it because he enjoys the food.
Yeah, that's okay.
So when a person says the covered Shabbos, that would be in the category of, let's say, intent, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
In other words, I am eating this to honor the Sabbath, to honor Shabbos.
okay, but let's say what's really going on in the person's head is
So that
he would be
gi-
eating it anyway because he likes the food. His wife put it in front of him. He's going to eat it.
So what, give me the generic of what you just said. Generalize it. What is the problem you're talking about?
So
You gave me a specific, but what is the problem?
I think that his intent is in his mind is to do the mitzvah, but in his heart he's enjoying the
So
food.
what, again, fine, true. But what is the issue that you just touched on?
Expressing false intent.
Who?
Expressing false intent.
No, he never said the guy. No, the guy could say, and I also want Mechabed Shabbos. Means I want to enjoy it, and I want to Mechabed Shabbos.
Right.
So what's the issue here?
I don't know. I never had it clear.
The issue is multiple intents.
He's saying, well, there's not multiple intents.
He's
There
saying-
is.
he's saying-
He
he's
said
the
that what
guy's
you're
fooling
saying is
himself.
what you're
Are
doing.
you talking about that?
No, it's not a fraud.
He's fooling himself.
No, he's not fooling himself.
No, he's not fooling himself. No, he wants. There's the delicious chant.
Right.
It's delicious. Let's get Lamais here, right? There's an incredible. His wife makes an incredible chant, right? And he looks at that chant, and there's only one thing he wants to do, and that's eat that chant, right? Shabbos, no
or
Shabbos.
any food. Any time a person has food in front of him, he's hungry.
So
He wants to eat.
it's called multiple intents. Intent. So the question you're asking, right? Does the intent have to be exclusive, or can it be multiple? That's the issue. You see what I just did? What I just
It's
did?
absolutely brilliant. No, really. I never thought it was multiple.
Listen, I
No.
don't swallow my head. But
I,
always look for the issue, the generic, the general. What you just ask is what? You ask a specific case. But what you're really asking is what happens if there are multiple kavanas, intents. Now, in that itself, there are variations. He wants both. He really wants one, even though he said another, but he's not really interested in the other. So one is true, the other is false, even though he verbalized both. You know what I'm saying? So you have variations here. But are we looking, is the requirement exclusivity of intent? Which one? Or multiple intents are good, and so on. That's what you're asking. Or, what proves intent? If he said it, does that mean he intended, even if he didn't? What are we looking for, his intent or his verbal statement? There's a whole bunch of issues here, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's very, very, very. I mean, it
Yeah.
would be indirect.
I would say, how I would answer your question anyway.
Yes.
Now I would answer your question, what is Kovod Shabbos? What is it? An Oynig. There are two mitzvahs. There's Kovod Shabbos and there's Oynig Shabbos. What's the difference? What are they? You see, before you can ask that question, you have to go straight to the mitzvah. What is Oynig Shabbos and what is Kovod Shabbos? Anybody know? We all do it. Every week we're faced with this. Kovod Shabbos and Oynig Shabbos. What is the difference? Who? That's an example. I don't want an example. I want to know what it is conceptually. I need a definition.
I once heard that Kovod Shabbos is anything you do before Shabbos, and Einig Shabbos is anything you do on Shabbos.
So it's time related?
Yes, that's what I heard. In other words, because lighting candles is Kovod Shabbos and Einig Shabbos. I think the Brisker Rav says it's because you do it before Shabbos, so it lends on it to Shabbos, before Shabbos, but on Shabbos, you're enjoying the light. You're not sitting in the dark.
What is something that's only called Shabbos?
So
You
only
see,
Kovod
it's
Shabbos is like
your
cleaning the house.
differentiation is a time differentiation.
No, but what's the-
I wouldn't
what's the
define it that way.
definition?
It's not essential.
What?
It's not essential differentiation.
I would not
You got
use.
together with it?
What's
I would
the-
not. But what's together? Which
Yeah, I don't
what,
know.
You need to define it. I would never say that what differentiates the two ideas is time, before or after.
Could possibly be what
That's,
Okay,
you
okay, I agree.
So therefore, what does covered mean? What does it mean to honor something? When you honor what?
Respect, to be afraid of.
Okay, when you commit an act, when you do something, because you hold that for which you are doing it as choshev, that's called honor. When somebody walks in, let's say a big Talmid Chacham, Adam Gadol, and you stand up. Standing up is an action of what?
Covered.
Covered. What is
Obviously
why
not-
are you
not
standing up?
Give him
only for
honor.
sure.
Who?
It's not only for sure.
Why? Unless you're doing squats. But anyway, what is?
He's showing that he's important.
Oh, when you do an act that shows that somebody is choshev or significant, that act is called covered, an act which honors.
It shows that he's
God?
significant.
That he's choshev, he's important,
An example of that would be.
he's valued. There's
Would be
a whole bunch of
standing
them
up.
values.
Standing
I gave an example.
Yeah.
A Talmud Chacham walks into a room. You stand up, right? Why do you stand up? Because you hold that individual is important, he's valued, he's significant, whatever synonym you want. So therefore the act which you just performed is deemed what? An act to honor. Yes?
Okay.
What is oinik?
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Simple.
Let me ask you something. What are we honoring by Shabbos? When you say covered,
We show
What-
that Shabbos is special.
oh, you're honoring Shabbos. Yes? The Kiddush of Shabbos. So when you do an act that indicates Chashivas to Shabbos, yes? That's called covered Shabbos. Yes? What kind of acts are those?
Lighting candles,
Lighting candles?
Kiddush.
white table,
No?
Like it is.
white
No.
tablecloth.
Kiddush is not covered Shabbos. Kiddush is?
Kiddush Hashem.
No?
Zochas Yom Yosef.
What is it?
It's a mitzvah.
No, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you the religious impact of this. No. What is Kiddush, really? No. Don't,
A verbal declaration.
I realize you have a good vocabulary, but that's not what we're looking for. No. What is when you Makadish? When you say Kiddush, what are you doing?
You separate, you elevate.
No, come on. How many years have you been saying Kiddush?
You're doing a mitzvah.
No, I didn't ask what you're doing. When you say Kiddush, what does that act signify?
The Shabbos is special.
It's a statement of belief.
No.
It's Shabbos.
Declaring
It's Shabbos declaration.
you're declaring
We declare
the-
Shabbos.
You declare what?
You're declaring the
That's a
special,
Shabbos
the
Unique.
what's
Now-
special about the day, that the day is Kaddish. You're declaring the Kedusha Sayyim.
Making it special.
There's one word. You are acknowledging the entry of a special guest called Shabbos. It's an acknowledgement. That's what Kiddush is. When you Kaddish, what you're really doing is you are acknowledging the entry and the presence of Shabbos, whatever the significance is. Kedusha Shabbos, the Shechina, the Malka, whatever you want to call Shabbos. Kiddush is an acknowledgement of the entry and the presence of that Kedusha. And what's Havdalah? The reverse. It's an acknowledgement of what?
That's leaving.
That it's leaving, exactly. That's what it is.
How do
You
see
need
it?
to acknowledge.
You see it in Zochar, in Shabbos, that's a-
Remember.
Remember, you
Yeah.
have to acknowledge?
Remember in that case means, it's funny, a person can remember Shabbos during the week. So, you know what I'm saying? To remember something simply means don't forget. Means have in mind that there is a phenomenon called Shabbos. But when you do Kiddush, it's more than just a Zechira. Of course you are. I mean, it's simultaneous. You are mentioning Shabbos. So therefore...
You remember, and it's now also.
But you're mindful in Shabbos. I can do that during the week. I'm mindful. I can do that during the week.
Rashi does on Shabbos, remember during the week when we get the new thing,
Oh.
good thing. That's what Rashi.
By what's it? Beit Shammai.
Right, the Rashi
Yeah,
mentions.
so he's Mekayim Zochar because every time he bought something, he would say, "Oh, this is better." Hillel bought the bread, but Beit Shammai, if he saw something better, he would buy that. So that's. But really, when you say Kiddush, it's not just Zechira. You do that during the week. It's an acknowledgement of the presence and the entry of Shabbos now, and Havdalah is an acknowledgement of its leaving. You know what I'm saying? That's really what you're doing, and so on. In any case, where were we?
So we're speaking about
Like
eating
cover.
on Shabbos.
Oh,
you have
covered.
dual cover.
I'll get the cover to Shema. Wow, but this is all.
Connected.
It's all connected in the concepts in that sense. But So what is covered? Covered refers to an act that signifies that you admit the value and the importance of something. So an act is deemed as an act of kavod when it does in fact admit of that or acknowledge that. Now, how do we mechabed Shabbos? Which means we do acts which admit or state the chashivas of Shabbos. You put out your best silverware, if you got silverware. You put a great beautiful tablecloth, right?
Clothing.
If I hate to say this, but if Obama came to your house, other than throwing him out, nah, I'm joking around, but whatever. Let's take a real, if the Queen walked into your Queen Elizabeth, if she went into your house, she said, I got to look this guy up, right? And of course, when Queen Elizabeth comes, you got 1,000 people coming with her, what would you do? Would you put your schmata on the table with some used napkins and, some plastic? Would you put out plastic paper cups, paper plates, and some plastic spoons? It's a bizoyan. No, you'd put out the best. Why? Because that lady is very important. And to acknowledge that importance, you now are going to do acts that acknowledge that importance. That's called kavod. What's oinig? Oinig is to enjoy that which is here. It's pleasure, it's enjoyment, right? Yes?
Okay.
So we have two different concepts. One acknowledges the importance, and the other has enjoyment.
So when you say that the Chavod Shabbos Kodesh is not the right words to use.
No, it is, because you don't make cholent during the week, even though they're selling it Thursday night in all the restaurants, right? About that, so you're wondering where's the cover, right? You make cholent special for Shabbos, and it's not cholent you made. What do you make when you make? What do you make when you did make cholent? Who? Chamim. And chamim is an act of kavod. When you have an honored guest, you don't give them cold cuts. You know what I'm saying, right? Because things change so much in America, you never know what's going on here. But you have a hot dish. That's an acknowledgement of honor. So therefore,
and what's oinig? I don't know. What is oinig? Oinig is you're just enjoying yourself. What are you showing? What are you doing?
Oh, so the shine is, it's interesting. To me, oinig is covered.
How is that?
Because if I enjoy the presence of somebody special, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of the covet.
That's a high level. A person's not really enjoying. He's enjoying the challenge.
Yeah.
Why should he eat the challenge? The challenge doesn't enjoy Shabbos.
What?
I enjoy the challenge that shows I'm enjoying Shabbos.
Very busy with that. I never had.
Well, the reason why you're enjoying cholent, why did you make cholent?
That's covered.
That's covered.
What's the idea in it?
In a certain sense, when you enjoy something of covet, you made cholent because of chamim. And chamim is an acknowledgement of kavod. That's why he did it. But when you enjoy it, it's part and parcel of the whole experience. When I enjoy, I'm enjoying the cholent that I made, which I wanted mechabed to Shabbos. But the enjoyment is part of the, there's a word I would use, gladness. I'm glad. I'm glad that Shabbos is here. You know what I'm saying? So in the midst of this incredible presence, I'm going to enjoy myself. You hear some of that stuff?
Even lying down.
It's a little subtle, I admit. A little subtle here, but somehow I get that. When you enjoy, it's the concept. It's not enjoying, but to enjoy something means to be glad, to be happy. You see. And that's part of the experience of being glad that the kavod is done, chant, because there's a special guest. So to me, oinig is part of kavod, although it's a unique form in which I enjoy. I enjoy the Shabbos also. You know what I'm saying?
So
anyway.
In terms of my question.
So where we got two more.
So I guess that the following most of they fault the person. The person has a cover challenge, but he really has in mind that he's enjoying the challenge.
Anyway,
the way you're saying it's perfectly good.
It's what?
It's perfectly good.
Great.
It's just a dual intent. As long
Yeah,
as-
oh yeah, well that's the issue. The concept of multiplicity of intent. Or the exclusivity of intent. That's the issue, that's the generic. And the case you bring, well, let me give you a case of multiple intents. You know what I'm saying?
So
Anyway, I want to give it to Kriya Shema. Okay, so anyway, so that's the concept of mental states, state of minds, and it's a condition which clearly is by Kriya Shema. Now, obviously, there's a machlokes what kivan liboy is because there's machlokes of kavana. Does a mitzvah have to have kavana, which means intent? The what? What's the intent? Intent doesn't tell me anything. What does intent say? Intent,
I'm mindful that I am doing the mitzvah.
intent just says that the act I've done is deliberate. But what was my intent?
I'm doing the mitzvah.
Oh, so the intent, the content of the intent. You see, there's the intent and its content. What did I intend? You see, intent simply means I did something deliberately. You know what I'm saying? But what was the intent? You know? In other words, what did I intend? So, I of course I intended to read the Kriya Shema. But the intent of reading Shema, see, their intent is purpose. I intended to read the Kriya Shema means I wanted to read the Kriya Shema. I wanted to do it. That's intent. Why do you want to do it? Because with this Kriya, I'm yoytze the mitzvah. So it's more, you see what I'm saying? So there's intent, means what am I intending? But the real intent here, right, is really a double. I want to read Kriya Shema, but I want to read it because I'm going to be yoytze the mitzvah. So that's good according to the Mendel who holds tzrichas kavana. What about the Mendel who holds tzrichas kavana? So he obviously, he's got to deal with this Mishnah. It's a Mishnah. You can't put it away. So he will say, you guys learned the Mishnah, right? What's he say?
Kavana of the words.
Yeah. So what it means, he will. But that which is interesting. He doesn't have to. But he doesn't have to want.
Seems to be reading it, not to be doing the mitzvah. Not for the words.
He has to know what he's
as opposed
reading.
to checking a text.
As opposed to reading a text.
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be just checking the text or doing something. He wants to read these words. He's just not thinking about doing the mitzvah.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what I know. That's what you're saying, but that's what the Mendel who says mitzvah same as Quran says.
According to you, no.
Well, the question is, according to one who says you do not need kavana, means you do not have to be reading in order to fulfill a mitzvah. You can just do the act without any desire to fulfill the mitzvah. Just reading the act itself is sufficient. You know what I'm saying? So then the question he has to answer is, why does it say kiven liboy? Because kiven liboy means kiven, which is a concept of intent. You know what I'm saying?
Kiven liboy can pay attention. Also, that doesn't mean intent. You could say kiven liboy means to pay attention.
Okay.
That you're reading these words.
Yeah. Oh, so he will have to what?
As opposed to just reading aleph, shin, mem, ayin to check it.
Yeah.
The way he's checking, he's actually intending to say the word Shema, not because he wants to do the mitzvah,
yeah,
because he wants to say the word Shema.
Because he wants to articulate reading.
Yeah.
He wants to read as opposed to just say, vow. He doesn't want to just vocalize the ois, aleph, beis. He wants to read.
What's the difference?
Well, because if a guy is being magia sefer, he would just say, let's see, because he's really checking on what? On the presence or absence of oasis.
He's saying the words, he's doing the maisa.
No, but that's the problem, he may not. So im kivei livoy means if he reads as opposed to merely articulating or vocalizing a vowel or an ois, a consonant, the ois, that's not sufficient. So kiven doesn't mean a state of mind. Kiven is really an articulation.
Be careful
reading.
to say each word means.
But he has to read the word, as opposed to saying, Shema, let's see, Shim, Mem, Ayin. He's articulating he's vocalizing a letter as opposed to reading. That's the
difference. I should say, in Kara, why is it Kivan Libai? It says Kivan Libai.
No, because because one could argue, it's a good question by the way, one could argue that even if, like I say, Allah, Shin Mem Ayin is also Kara. It's reading it. but it's not a vocalization of the actual, the sequence as you read.
I mean, even if he doesn't say Shema, even says Shema, but he might say in a way that isn't a word Shema.
Well,
the separate sounds.
He could say Shema, because his
Right.
matara is to make sure that the presence or absence of the ois is there. He wants to make sure there's no chaseres. You know what I'm saying? So he could say Shema, Shimi, Shema. You know what I'm saying? So he's reading, but he's not reading correctly. Or he's just saying Shim Mem Ayin. So he's also reading, but it's a vocalization as opposed to the classic reading.
And you're right, Taisus says in Kivan Liboy Lav Dafka.
Where?
Taisus says this pshat. But that's not the Pasha Pshat. I think the Pasha Pshat in the Gemara. Taisus Tema, Kati Hakakari. It's in discussion.
Yeah.
My God. And he answers that, like you're saying, that he's reading it, Karle Lahovan, Bechaseris, V'Yaseris, V'Zetafos, and Mezuzos. In Kivan Liboy Lav Dafka. Ala Klaima, Likrais, Kidin, Nikudas,
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's not, I mean, because the other way it's difficult. He's reading it, so what's the difference? And so on. But you have to say that he's not reading it. So there's a difference between, let's put this, there's correct reading and he's pronouncing, there's an attempt to pronounce the letters. So there's no missing vowels, or not vowels, there's no missing letters and so on. He's vocalizing it correctly. So is he vocalizing or is he reading? That's the question. So Kiva Levoy means he's got to intend to read as opposed to vocalize. So when Kiva Levoy does not refer to a state of mind. It refers to how is he articulating this? Is he just vocalizing letters, or is he reading the letters?
Being akin to the first thing, awareness, misasek, versus Yodea.
Well, he's not. He's a Yodea. Yeah, he's
he happens to be saying the words of Shema, but he's misasek he's doing something else. He's really checking the letters.
I mean, that's the Pasha Pshat.
He's say that again.
If we say according to Mandamar says mitzvah einus kavanah, so
yeah.
So what could he be doing? Could be just being misasek, not saying as opposed to Yodea that he's reading.
He's aware that he's doing something. Misasek means he's not aware that he's doing. He's not aware of the act being performed.
Well, he's not aware of the saying
he knows
the
what
Shema
he's doing
because he's just.
But he is aware of what he's doing, so it can't be a misasek.
Can't be misasek.
Yeah. For instance, if like I did the classic cases, he wants to.
You see?
Or he wanted a cut, instead he wound up severing. The chuba, yeah. So so he knew he was doing one act, but he was unaware that he was doing the act of severing or unattached disattachment.
Here I was trying to say he was aware that he's checking the letters, but he's not aware that he's at the same time also saying Shema.
No, he could be aware. No, he could be aware, except he doesn't care if he's Yaitz or not. It's not a misasek. Because he's aware of his act, therefore he cannot be a misasek. The question is, what is his act? That's the question. So im kiven liboy means if the act that he does is an act of reading as opposed to an act of vocalizing, fine. But he's clearly aware of whichever he does. So we're not talking about a mental state. Interesting. It's an intent, but it's not an intent. It's not an intent of mind. It's not an intent of mind. It's an intent of act. I want to read and not vocalize. Whereas the other one is an intent of mind. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Okay, great.
Can I bring up one more question? When he says, according
Last time you brought up a question, we digressed for the next 20 minutes. So, is this connected? Because I really just want to...
Okay, yeah, finish.
Okay, but Prokem. I don't mind just that,
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, but Prokem. What's but Prokem? Come on, guys. You guys are supposed to learn this.
Prokem are the
junctures.
Juncture.
Good.
Intersections. Junctures. Okay, but Prokem, what does it say? Shom ibn HaKavod u'meishiv. Right?
Yeah.
He can greet because if somebody wants to honor, u'meishiv, and he can reply or respond. U'be'emsa that's between the program. But the emtza in the middle of a parak, and the question has to do, of course, what does emtza and parak mean, and so on. Does emtza mean in the middle of a parak, or does emtza mean in the middle of a pasuk? What does emtza mean? We're not, that when I get into that, the clarification of the specifics. Right? He can greet because he's afraid of the person, without going into what he's afraid of. And he can reply. Different Rav Meir. So Rav Meir is pretty clear cut. So at Baprokim, in between the sections, right? Which is more of a stringent? Which is more chumma? Shoel or Meshav? Which one? Shoel or Meshav? Which one?
Shoel.
Shoel is much more, Meshav means somebody initiated and I replied. To Shoel means I initiated the greeting, which is much more, which is worse. You know what I'm saying?
Why is it called Shoel? Why you greet someone you call Shoel?
Yeah, how are you? What is that?
You say Shalom means yes.
How are you? Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, but he's asking that you're not saying how
Isn't
are
that-
you.
isn't that a
You're saying
shame?
shalom.
In English, I guess. In English, I understand why you do it.
Yeah.
But in Lashon Kodesh, you say
What
Shalom
is so-
Aleichem.
Nishma, that's what you think. How are you?
Yeah.
You say Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem is not non-nishma. No, yes,
And
he's
what-
good.
No,
Yes, he's
Shalom
good.
Aleichem is a
Shalom
statement.
It's a
bracha.
statement, right? It's a Shoel.
No, Shoel has to mean,
Shiva Shalom. Before davening, you're not going to go say Shalom. You're not going to ask someone, how are you? We're not going to say to him Shalom.
it's a good question. What does Shoel mean? Okay, so
Shalom.
Shoel b'shalom odom. What is Shoel b'shalom odom? No, he's not saying Shalom Aleichem, because that's a statement. Shalom Aleichem, peace be upon you. That's a fact. That's a statement. But if you say, how are you? That's a greeting. Shalom Aleichem. It can't be. It's not. He says Shalom odom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then you're right. Yeah.
Sounds like
I mean, when I say yeah. Okay, he called Shoel.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shoel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really should be Shoel to initiate to.
It's called She'ilas Shalom.
Who?
It's called She'ilas
Sheila
Shalom.
Shalom. Yeah.
Why is that so?
Yeah.
Unless you punctuate Shalom Aleichem with a question mark. Shalom Aleichem. Are you at peace?
No, are you okay?
What do you answer with a
No,
question?
because-
Aleichem Shalom.
There's a halacha by a velus that you now.
No, Aleichem is also a question. Are you at peace?
Yeah, right. You answer.
Okay, so what's this all about? What's the topic all about, really? I mean, we have a halacha. What? Interruptions. Can you interrupt that which is continuous?
But what does interruption have to do with kavanah, right?
No, it has nothing to do with kavanah.
Why not?
We're not.
Maybe interruption is something that will disgrace you from your kavanah.
Well, what are you really thinking about when your question raises what?
The CIA.
No, CIA.
That's
No. What?
That's a chadas.
No,
I'm trying to connect the two parts of the mission together.
Connection. What's the
No. What are you just?
What's behind the interruption?
What
He's
are
trying
you?
to-
When you ask that question, what are you seeking?
I'm seeking to say that both parts of the Mishnah are united.
No, you're not. No.
He's
You're
trying
not
to
doing
generalize interruption.
that. Is he trying to generalize interruption?
He was trying to do it. He said, "What's the cloud?"
That's not called a generalization. What are you trying to do when you just said
What's
that?
the area of interruption?
No, there's a word for it.
The cause for interruption.
No.
Justification. Oh.
No, what's the word?
What do we do?
Derivation.
No.
There's many words.
A whole vocabulary.
No, there's one word that I always use, and you guys know what the
Master
word is.
idea.
Who?
Master idea.
No, there's no
But you want to know
word.
what the problem with interruption
Never heard
is?
of
Is
one.
that what you're
No.
asking?
No. What you just asked, what are you seeking generally?
Subject.
No?
Justification.
No?
Motivation.
Generalization.
No.
That's all.
No.
Not seriously.
No. If you found the answer, then you can generalize.
Okay.
But what are you seeking?
The reason.
Oh, you're seeking the principle.
Yeah.
What's wrong with interruptions?
Yeah.
What is the problem of interruption? Why is it no good? What's the chasson here? That's the first thing you have to ask yourself. Remember what the halachas are? You guys remember the halachas? What are the 8 objectives in a halacha? every halacha, you need to know 8 objectives. Remember what they are? You don't know what they are.
Principle.
Case, condition, principle.
Oh, case. What is the situation?
Conduct.
What's the conduct? What's the principle? That's what you're looking for, right? And then you have, well, essential conditions, derivation, area, location and the structure, and variations of the halacha. Because that you see the variations if you see how the principle varies. What you're asking is the principle. What's the principle of interruption, really? Why is interruption no good? Why can't I say Shema and say, how are you doing? And then continue. What's the problem here? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the first thing you have to ask. Is the Mishnah introduces the concept of that interruptions is generally not valid. Yes or no? Can I interrupt in Shema general?
I cannot interrupt in Shema.
No, exactly. You're right. So the rule here is you can't interrupt. What are you doing? These Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda have to seek a heter for interruption. This isn't the general rule. This is a heter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what? When you learn the Mishnah, it looks like, we don't realize that the real rule, or the rule, is you cannot interrupt. However, under certain circumstances, you may interrupt. And this Mishnah is about what are what's called the, fancy word here, the mitigating circumstances. It's fancy. What a mitigate means is softening, that which softens.
The exceptions.
The exceptions, yeah. What are the circumstances in which there are exceptions to the rule that you cannot interrupt? And then they have a machlekes in what the circumstances are that you can interrupt. You know what I'm saying? But the first thing you have to ask yourself is, are you allowed to interrupt at all? Remember, what's that called? Remember, what's that? That's called the preliminary idea. Exactly. Before you learn the Mishnah, you have to ask the first thing, excuse me, what's the story here with interruptions? So you have to be choiker on that. What is wrong with an interruption? Once you've arrived at that, then you can delve into the Mishnah. Now what does Mishnah say? So the Mishnah is now going to have an argument that under what circumstances is an interruption allowed? You know what I'm saying? But then, what do you have to do? You have to go back to the reason why interruption is forbidden and see if this truly makes sense why it would allow the rule of being forbidden, which nobody's going to do. You see, and nobody's going to do that. They're not going to go back. They'll just go forward, because don't stay on the surface. In every Mishnah, there's always a preliminary idea. And then if the Mishnah introduces a exception, what do you need to do? What does its exception make sense? In terms of the general rule of really interruption is no good. You see what I'm saying? That's what you have to do. Because that really, and then what else do you have to do? Well, Reb Meir said something. What did he say? Brokem, biprokem, in between, let's say, junctions or whatever, in between the sections, right? One circumstance, shoyel, you can initiate a greeting, right? If the individual that you're initiating it to, right, deserves covet, whoever that is, and that itself has to be defined, right? So you can initiate and you can respond or reply if he initiates shalom to you. You know what I'm saying? So you can both initiate and reply for covet. In the middle, however, interruption is clearly asa, but no, there's a circumstance where it's permitted. What is that? Yira. If it's yira, if you are frightened of this person, if there's fear, whatever the fear is, and that itself needs a definition, right? Then you can, shoyel and meishav, the same thing. But yira works for the middle, covet works for that. But covet does not work for the middle. There's no covet for them, so that's what you see, right? So for the middle, it's only yira. Either greeting, replying, or greeting, or initiating. But for the Bein HaProkim, it's only covet. Kolshke yira, Madach yira can do the middle, yira clearly can do the Bein HaProkim. So we have, everybody got that?
Yeah.
Fine. What do we do now?
Why
Back
can't
to
you
principle.
interrupt?
Well, that was a preliminary idea. I'm past that already.
Oh, what's the? You
Was it
explain it.
Oh, yeah, okay, wait. No, I want to. What do we do now?
Go back to the preliminary idea.
No, that's what I said. No, they can't.
You have to do something. You can't repeat.
No, don't repeat. Listen. What do we do now? From a male alone, you could do this. We need clarity here. Remember, clarity is generalization. Always look for the general principle, because, and that this is nothing more than a demonstration of the general principle. So, Rabbi Isai, what's the generalization of this first, statement of Reb Meir?
In some cases, the preliminary idea will apply.
No. That you're taking my stuff. No.
Okay.
Don't steal my stuff. No. You can come on. What do we do now? Remember, we want the generalization.
What are we generalizing now?
Oh, very good. Well, I'm about to pull a rabbit right out of the hat. It's called magic. But it's thinking. It's all this thinking. I don't know anything more than you guys.
He said.
I just hope I think correctly. I analyze.
He's saying it's easier to interrupt Ben Aprakum than it is in the parak.
Yeah, which would make sense.
It's more general.
Yeah, but that's not a generalization. That's just a statement of what he's saying. That's an implication. I want a generalization. And the implication of what Reb Meir is saying, clearly, is that it's much more serious, be'emtza than ben aprokum. So for emtza, you need yira. Ben aprokum, all you need is covered, koshken yira. That's what we derive, the implication we derive from Reb Meir. Fine. But I want a generalization of this halacha.
It's not simple to interrupt. It's not a given that you can interrupt.
Yeah, okay, it needs a special circumstance. That's zikr true. But that's not, no. I mean, that's, no. You're wondering, what's the rabbit I'm going to pull out of my hat? I'll tell you. In Reb Meir's halacha, yes? How many variables are there, generically? How many variables are there? What? Where does the interruption take place? Prokum?
And to whom?
Emsa. Oh, that's it. To whom? Yes?
And what is the interruption?
And what is the interruption? There you are. Those are three variables as a general principle. And Rabbi Yehuda is going to address himself to those three variables.
To whom and what is the two different things?
No, what is the shoyel meshiv? To whom is Yireh covered? And where is Ben Aprokum or Bemsa? There are three things going on here. And they'll all determine the halacha. You see? That's a generalization. Because I'm no longer dealing with Reb Meir. I'm dealing with what Reb Meir is talking about, and that these are the three general variables of any interruption. Because any interruption will always have, where is the interruption? You know what I'm saying? What is the interruption? And to whom or for what reason is the interruption? You see what I just did? That's the rabbit out of the hat. And that's the generalization. So therefore, this will now apply to any interruption, anywhere, where interruptions are forbidden, because that's the given. So the question, whenever it's permitted, those are three variables, right? You know what I'm saying? Where can the interruption take place? Let's say in Shmona Esrei, if there's such a rule, right? Interruptions is no good, right? Correct? Okay, where is the interruption? You know what I'm saying? What is the interruption? Can I have a schmooze with a guy? What about the interruption where I walk over and take a sefer? And what happens if I just stop and just think about something else? My vacation to Florida. It's called a pause. Or it's another, all of a sudden my mind left me, I'm just thinking about the incredible time I'm going to have in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Those are all interruptions. So where is the interruption? What is the interruption? Is it mental? Is it verbal? Or is it cessation? You don't say anything. You just stop. See, what is interruption? You know what I'm saying? And to whom?
But for what reason?
Or for what reason?
To look up a halacha.
Exactly.
Right.
Halacha, to walk, go to the bathroom, whatever, there's so many different ways a guy can look. You see, so those ideas will always apply to any interruption. So, bingo, we just generalized Torah's interruption, or more accurately, Torah's hefsek. You see? And I just pulled it right out of Reb Meir. Because it's all in Reb Meir. But Prokim is where, Shoel Mibnei HaKoved is why, and Meshiv, and Shoel,
Shoel is what?
Is what?
the Shoel is what?
Is who?
Is who? And Prokim is when?
Right.
There you are.
It's unbelievable.
What's unbelievable?
He says it all.
He says it. So what did I do?
Generalized.
I generalized it. I said, wait a minute. I understand the specific what Reb Meir is saying, but Reb Meir just introduced 3 variables here. And therefore, if that's the case, then I can apply those 3 variables to all Torah Sal Hefsek. You know what I'm saying?
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. X, Y, and Z axis. Yeah. And then Rabbi Yehuda is going to be what? Same thing. Rabbi Yehuda is also Be'emtza, Shoel, and Mekah Kovet. Same thing. The argument is, the severity of the interruption. Which is what's the determinant? What's the major determinant of what the interruption is? What's the major determinant that we have to look for in terms of the interruption? They're really arguing in what? It happens to be they're arguing Kriya Shema, but it's not just Kriya Shema. Shemona Esrei. You have the same problem with Shemona Esrei. You know what I'm saying? Or anything that needs, anywhere you have Teres Hefsek, you're going to have these issues here. You're going to have these 3 factors or variables. You see? And then these 3 further can be subdivided. You know what I'm saying? You subdivide them by saying what? Even Be'emtza. What does Be'emtza mean? Be'emtza means what? In the middle of the paragraph? In the middle of the pasuk? How about in the middle of the word?
Word, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we need a definition of what's called Be'emtza. Then we need Ben HaProkim. What's called Ben HaProkim? And that the Mishnah is going to deal with. Elohim Ben HaProkim. You see? Mishnah was mechaven, or rather I was mechaven to a Mishnah. You see? Mishnah is going to actually talk about one of the variables. What's Ben HaProkim? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what's called Be'emtza? What's called Prokim? And what type of a hefsek is it? They're only talking about a verbal hefsek. But what about a pause hefsek? What about thinking about something else hefsek? You see what I'm doing? I'm introducing all the possibilities of the whole concept of hefsek, which will apply to anything that there's a teres hefsek on. You see? So as I say, what did I want to say? Chance favors the prepared mind. So therefore when I get to Shemona Esrei, I'm going to have the same concerns. You know what I'm saying? The halachas of hefsek in Shemona Esrei. What about the halachas of brachas? Birchas Hanenim, between the brach and the food, and so on.
Right, but not every hefsek has the same principle.
You have to look exactly.
So I'm going to have.
And it may not have the same halachas, in order to make teres hefsek, you need to look at all the cases and then extract all the variables, and then see how each case is unique to those variables. You see, until you build yourself a beautiful chart called teres hefsek. But these are the cases, these are the variables, and how do you apply the variables or the specifics to the cases? And there you are. You have the whole business of hefsek in front of you. But we're only doing on Kriya Shema.
But you're not getting into why you can make hefsek, because that the Mishnah is not.
Why?
You're just taking apart the Mishnah.
I'm just taking apart the Mishnah generically. Because what I'm really trying to do is understand what's the central idea of this Mishnah? Is the whole concept of hefsek. That's a central idea of this Mishnah.
It's kavanah as well.
I didn't get the.
You're saying what's the central idea of the second part?
Oh, second part, correct. Yeah, because the Mishnah really consists of what? Two.
Right, but maybe as you said before, there may be one central idea for those 2 parts.
Yeah, it could be. What would you think it is?
Kavanah.
The hefsek is the reason. Why can't you be mafsik from the Krishma? I don't understand. Why can't you be mafsik from the Krishma?
You don't lose kavanah.
Why can't you be mafsik? But in a bracha and fooding. So the bracha is not on the food or whatever we'll say. Why you can't?
Distraction. That's what I think.
I know.
Well, that's it. You have to. What's the rationale? You can hear it more clearly by Shemon Esrei. You know why?
No.
Why?
No, you can hear it much clearer by Shemon Esrei.
Because you're walking away from the Melech.
You're in front of the king.
Oh, you mean it's like presence?
Yeah, it's the biggest bizoy. Imagine a guy standing in front of, the king of a country.
And so
all of a sudden,
it's
picks out his cell phone.
Obama is a bad example. Yeah.
What?
Obama is a bad example.
Obama's a bad example. Obama, you'd want to answer your cell phone.
But Krishma also you have a similar thing.
What?
So you're in the middle of the Kabbalah Baruch Shemayim or reading to the Parshas HaTorah and you stop in the middle and you start doing something else. It's also bizarre.
Yeah, it could be. But what's the difference between Kriya Shema and Tefillah? You know, I got to end with this. Remember when I said, what is Kriya Shema really? What is it?
Declaration of belief.
Of beliefs, correct. It is a verbal declaration of your
So
beliefs.
interruptions shouldn't matter. Okay, so interrupted, I still believe.
It would seem so. Yeah, you really have to think about, wow, what's wrong with an interruption? So I interrupted my beliefs. Doesn't mean I don't believe.
Right.
If I'm standing in front of a king, okay, now I understand. Because that's dishonor. Dishonor you immediately can understand, because your attention should be riveted to that king. But if this is a statement of beliefs, why can't I interrupt? And therefore, what do I need special circumstances for?
Yeah.
It's clear what they're arguing about. Okay? Got that?
It's like our homework for next 3 months.
Yeah, so that's it. So I'll be back, God willing, in after Purim, and we'll continue. And by then you'll have all figured it out, huh? Okay, what am I trying to leave you with? Get away from the superficiality and get away from the fragmentation. Always look at something general and then try to take all the fragments and create a structure. And that is the incredible clarity. And then the Mishnah becomes nothing more than a demonstration of a general formula. You see.
And Chazorah, and Chazorah.
Well, yeah. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.